spying on the United States. The first one was Pollard. Pollard went to prison for life. Now Israel wants Pollard released because he was only trying to help Israel, who was our friend. The second instance just happened a couple of years ago. In our government, the Justice Department actually performed a search warrant on AIPAC headquarters. The original document said that the AIPAC targets involved influenced America back into war in Iraq and were influencing powerful congressional and White House leaders to attack Iran. They're contacting the Pentagon. A man named Larry Franklin was in prison for 12 years. The two AIPAC spies were pending trial and were released. They were released because they said they weren't sure their intentions were really to hurt the United States. What does that mean? That Larry Franklin is going to be released from prison? Pollard is going to be released from prison? Listen, let me tell you something. There's no reason for anybody to spy on us. And this is going to get a lot of people mad. I think American-Israeli Public Affairs Committee should be banned from lobbying the Congress of the United States. Their behavior has earned them that. Second of all, the Congress of the United States revolves around money. There's too damn much money in politics. The average election winning campaign for House of Representatives is $1.4 million. Where do you think they get that money? Who do you think controls that Congress? The people who give it the money. And no one's looking into it. See, and I just think it's very simple. Listen carefully. I think if you're running for Congress, you should only be allowed to raise money within the congressional district. No outside money. If you're running for U.S. Senate, you should only be allowed to raise money within the state. No outside money. What the hell's going on here? Hey, we need that guy. We got that guy. He's with us. They're not going to let him get beat. We're not going to let her get beat. Now, I don't really talk about people. I never did. But I'm going to say this as a Democrat. If you would follow Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid into battle, there's something wrong with you. Hear me. This ain't praising the Republicans. They got their chance and come in and they did exactly what the Democrats did. Let's tell it like it is. And they were trying to woo that foreign money, because that foreign money is more with the Democrats. So they did everything they wanted, hoping to get them. Look where we are. It's very easy to reform campaigns. Raise the money in your district. Raise the money in your state. No outside money can come into it. President, that's a different thing. The whole country's eligible. But how do you get your leaders? Where do some of these people come from? And believe me, I've seen some of them that are weak. Scared of their shadow. Don't open their mouth. Go along, get along. I remember having a powerful member from California say, listen, Traficant, I don't care how you vote. I'm tired of you speaking out. I said, don't ever, ever talk to me about my vote again or my reaction and speech on the House floor. Never. And I can remember a debate on trade. So help me God. Ross Sikowski sitting there, doling out the time. And I went up and said, Mr. Chairman, I want some time. He looked at his assistant and says, I don't have any time for you. And I just stood there. And evidently I stood there long enough, it was uncomfortable for him. And his girl was looking at him. And this is the truth, not acting big. I said, I want some damn time. Who the hell are you? They were so afraid of a ruckus, they gave me 2 minutes. On that debate, that's a lot of time. They were giving people 30 seconds. And that's what you have to do. But you see, these members go down there and forget their people. They go in and join in. And then they say, how am I going to get reelected? You hear people in the cloakroom saying, listen to this. I wonder what the chamber's going to say about this vote. Did the chamber rate it? What's the position on Israel on this vote? I'll never forget a debate on an issue dealing with the Mideast. I ended up being the last speaker. The next to the last speaker was one of the most powerful Republicans in history of Congress. He got up and he said, And I felt for once, my God, finally. He said, you know, I've been in the Congress for 34 years. I've always tried to do what was best, I thought, for our friend Israel. But this legislation, this resolution, is not good for America. It really isn't. And listen to what he said. I'm thinking to myself, finally, he said, but in those 34 years, I've never voted against a position that Israel supported. I don't like this, but I'm going to swallow hard, and I'm going to vote for it. Well, he was sending out the message to everybody, wasn't he? And I sat back, and I'm thinking to myself, man, the guy says this isn't good for America, but Israel wants it, I'm going to support it. I went up, and I said, you know, I wasn't elected to the Diet in Japan, the Politburo, nor the Knesset in Israel. I agree with the previous speaker. This isn't good for America. And I'm voting no, because it's not good for America. I'm a member of the United States Congress, and I vote for what's good for America, not bad for America. You could have heard a pin drop. We walked out of there, and that vote handled it, passed 99%. I was one of the few, maybe the only dissenting vote. When I walked out, members were walking by winking at me, not looking at me. Didn't want to give any. They knew what I was saying was right. They knew it. And they know it down there now. But here's how politics works. I want you to listen to this. I want you to imagine a scenario of a politician in the office. It's early in the morning. He goes to the window, back and forth. Finally, he sees a mob. And the mob's moving in a direction. He goes and puts on his trench coat and runs out and gets in front of the mob. When the American people say, look, we're not against Israel. We don't want to hurt Israel. They are our ally. But be damned if they're going to control our Congress. Enough is enough. You'll see all of these three-piece suits. Enough is enough. As soon as they have the political cover to do it. Because they have no testicles. That's what's wrong with the country. We let our country go to hell. People are afraid. People are afraid of the government, afraid of the Internal Revenue Service, actually has the courage to come before Congress and say, without fear, we'll never collect our voluntary taxes. Without fear. My answer to you is this: you have to be an active participant. You talk and infect others. Listen to the word infect. Spread it around. Let people know that, listen, we're not against anybody. We don't want to hurt anybody. We're not opposed to Israel. But be damned if they're going to control our Congress. We're damned if money's going to operate our system. We'll be damned if we're going to let big, powerful interests keep us from securing our borders. We'll be damned if we're going to let a bunch of federalists take over our Constitution and our government. Don't be afraid to speak out. You got talk shows. Go on them. They're going to give you all the reasons in the world why you're going to be wrong. And why people like myself espousing this are just angry because they went to prison. Ain't about that. I was saying this before I went to art school. You want to hear something interesting? I helped a fellow in the CIA who was a Polish national, and the CIA used them and abused them, and he made him a lot of promises when it's over. They're going to bring him to America, give his kids a college education, and give him a stipend of $25,000. When they come over, they screwed him. I took him to Langley and worked out a deal for him. Well, this person did a roots, someone did a roots who knew about this case. And they traced my mother's maiden name, Farkash, back to the original order of Dracul, by Prince Dracul, whose son is the infamous Vlad Dracula. So, while you have the cameras on, any of you politicians, any of you newspapers that mess with me, look at the wolf teeth.